Welcome back, sewists. I am dressed for rolling on the floor today. We are going to try and get this cut. If you're here for the first time and you're like, what's going on? I have two videos linked in the description. One is the inspiration for this project. The second video will be all of the findings and things that are going into it, plus some of the pattern work that I've done and explaining the pattern a little bit. Today we're cutting out and hopefully getting some sewing done. I have some concerns, however. Okay, so I mentioned this in last week's video that there are some lines in the fabric that only show up with the nap in one direction, and it's not the way that I plan on cutting it. Let me show you a little close-up real quick. Okay, it looks really purple in the camera. That is going to be the top of my fabric, so when I'm cutting, the top edge will be here, this will be the bottom edge. And I have to cut twice. I'm looking at this is supposed to be 4 yards and it's looking like 3. To me, I should measure this. I am actually really worried I don't even have enough fabric. Besides that, look at how pretty the fabric is right now. I've lint rolled and steamed it. But if I walk around this way, look at the lines. Look at those lines. So this is my concern. Let me lay the pattern on it. We've learned two things. I do not have enough fabric. There is no physical way to get the 2 pieces of this cut out of this piece of fabric. So that tells me a couple of things. So when I stand this way, and you can see the lines, because this fabric is actually going to bend, it's not going to stay straight of grain. There's a seam. This neck seam gets pulled around and stitched over there. This is the folded sleeve. Like, there's a lot going on. Because of that, these lines actually are going straight across the back, but they're going to pull at an angle. So they probably will show. Now it's going to be hanging this way on the body. So in the center back, it would be fine, but I'm very concerned that along this area where the drape is, you would see the lines. So I have 2 things happening here. One, there's no way I can get it out. There's not 4 yards. I just didn't get the 4 yards I ordered because I needed 4 yards for the other project that had the skirt and the jacket. I just don't have enough fabric. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. It may become cat cushions at this point. So tomorrow we're going to try this again. I'm going to go pick up fabric and I'm going to check it in store. I'm going to measure again. It says I need under 4 yards to get this cut out. Definitely have under 4. I'm looking at this. This has got to be 3. I'm going to measure it. But there's no way, especially because I can't flip my pattern because it's nap. So I'm going to measure my pattern piece and I'm going to buy more than 4 yards because I want to make sure I don't have any issues, and I'm sure there'll be big enough scrap for me to get the little reticule purse out of it. So that tells me I'm not cutting today because it's a Sunday and the only fabric store I have available to me is Hobby Lobby and they're closed. They do, however, have velvet. So I can go purchase more velvet. It's probably not on sale. I'm so disappointed in this. I have so many problems with what's happening right now. When I ordered this, I was going to make this little crossover shrug thing to pull on, and I ended up making it. I have videos on it. I've drafted my own pattern and made it. I was going to make it out of this, and I didn't. I'm very aware now that because of the lines and the way the fabric is going to bend, I cannot have any flaws in my fabric. So what would you do if you were in my place? Because I'm making sort of an expensive project, I have lining, I have all those findings, I have brocades, I've special ordered, I have the appliques I'm going to be putting on. I definitely don't want to be putting together a garment with fabric issues. I'm just not going to do that. So we're going to delay one day. I will see you tomorrow, and we will cut out tomorrow. I could go ahead and cut out the other things, but here's my fear. Instead of cutting out everything else and getting to Hobby Lobby tomorrow and finding out they don't have a velvet that matches all the other findings, I'm going to wait. I'm sure they have a blue, unless they're just completely sold out or they don't have 4 yards. I could definitely go with a black or something like that, which would also blend. So we will see. The color may change. After I did all my concept pictures and everything in last week's video, it may look a lot different. We will find out tomorrow. I'm so bummed because there's really not a lot of anything else I could do at this point. I don't know. And I got to figure out what to do with all this velvet I bought over a year ago with pretty major flaws in it. I didn't really think about it when it came. I also didn't measure it. Okay, I did have a little epiphany. I have in my closet a very dark navy, it looks almost black, t-shirt that I made 32 years ago, something. I mean, a lot before I had children. I was married, but before I had children. And this is a great color. Like, the color as far as that goes is great. I think I'm going to make myself a t-shirt out of it. A nice long-sleeved, comfy, easy t-shirt that I can just wear with things. You can see the color change depending on the nap. And I definitely prefer this darker side to this light side. So definitely going to make, I mean, I have 3.25 yards. I measured it, which I still haven't figured out because I know I ordered 4. I actually was, at the time, I was trying to decide between 4 and 5, and I was thinking this was one of the ones where it came in, like you could only order it in 1 yard increments, 3 yard increments, or 5 yard increments. And I remember I needed 4, so I was going to order 5. So either I made a huge mistake or they shipped me the wrong one. Kind of think it was from Amazon, actually. So I think it's going to become at least a t-shirt and probably a cat cushion or 2. It's nice. It's just a poly, and it can be washed and dried, which is one of the things that I like about the one that I made a million years ago, is that even though it looked really elegant, you could just wash it and dry it and wear it with whatever. So t-shirt is the decision, at least for now. I may change my mind. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. We have new fabric. It's a new day, can you tell? And I am happier with my new fabric. I was able to go to Amazon. Hobby Lobby didn't have anything. They didn't have any navy at all. They had an olive green and a burgundy that I really liked and would have gone with if I hadn't already purchased everything else to go with a blue. So I'm gonna just put in, this was a little selection that they had at Hobby Lobby, and I did like them all. I really like that olive green. It would have actually coordinated with everything other than my lining fabric, but I was not going to continue to keep buying more fabric. I'm trying to use what I have. So I went back to Amazon. They had this, I will link it below, 5 yards for $40, and it's a much richer, deeper blue. Look at the color in that. So I need to find which direction I want it to go. I think this is what I'm going to consider my top, but let me flip it over and show you the other side. I did wash and dry it. It's a poly, and it's very pretty. So this is the other direction of the nap. Very rich both ways. Okay, I'm gonna figure out which direction is my top and where you're going to get cutting. I have 5 yards now instead of the 3, and I'll just show you a side-by-side of the difference in the color. This is so much better. This is much more what I was wanting, much richer looking. Okay, let's get going. If you like my cute top, I will have a link to it below where I did a comparison between 2 very similar looking patterns, tell you the difference between the two. This is the Laundry Day tee, and I really love it. So that video will be linked below. That's between those blues. The new blue, which is this darker one, I love it so much better. This one was sort of a electric true blue, and this one's much more navy. I ordered, both were navies, believe it or not. But this one, more midnight blue, is so much prettier. Much more happy with that. This will still make a cute little, I think I'm making a t-shirt type dress out of it. Okay, so here's my first pattern piece. I'm going to cut it twice. I'm going to cut it like this, then flip it over, move it down, and cut it again. Now, if you need to alter this pattern to make it bigger than what it currently is, I'm cutting the largest size, which I believe is an extra large. It is possible to make this bigger pretty easily, and you would do the slash and spread method. You would cut through here up to the neckline, and then that's where your little pivot would be. You want to miss the dart. You can even cut into the dart and make the dart smaller, and then you would swing open at the hemline, and what that does is it makes it wider at the hemline. It'll make it a little wider everywhere else. It's not going to do, I think, what you would hope it would do, which would be make it big around the hip or around the bust. It will add a little bit, but not much. It will mostly add the fullness to the hemline. If you do a muslin of this and you're like, it's just too tight, you're going to have to do the true grading method where you actually grade out sizes here along the side seam. And you can see the sleeve, the waistline. That would be, if you want to keep everything exactly the same and just do sizes, you can easily follow their measurements and add to this to make this larger. Now, when you do that, it does two things. It not only makes it wider, it makes it longer. And if you don't want that, it does have this line right here, this lengthen shorten line right here. And you would cut, move up, true on the side seam. So there is a lot to doing alterations on this. If I get this made and there's somebody out there who's like, I really want to know how to upsize this pattern, leave it in the comments and I will do a whole video just on that. All right, piece one cut out and wallowing on the floor. I'm going to roll the fabric up, unpin, flip the pattern over, and do it again. I'm going to do the same thing for the lining. I don't think I'm going to show you cutting that out because it's just boring. I'm also going to check, I might be able to fold the lining back on itself this way and cut it just once if it's non-directional. We'll find that out in a minute. Okay, here's the second piece ready to be cut out. You can see it's flipped. I can see the wrong side of the pattern now, but the nap is the same. If I did one with the nap one direction, one with the other, one side of the coat would be light and dark and one side would be dark, and it would be very obvious on the center back seam. I'm ready to cut this out, and then I'm going to go ahead and do lining, and then we're going to talk about our two brocades again. I'm going to now show them against this fabric because last time I showed them against that brighter blue, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, here's my lining. It is non-directional as far as the design woven in. It has one side that is, you can see the jacquard or the brocade. This is the satin side, and this is the side I'm going to make be my right side. So I have just folded it back on itself. I can't remember, 4 or 5 yards of this. I had 5 yards of that, and it was just enough with about the same amount left over. So I think I have 5 yards of this also. And I'm just going to cut once this time, and then this will be cut out, and we will move on to our brocades. I'm kind of excited about that. And we're going to lay them out and look and see how they look with the new fabric. I have the two big pieces cut out in the lining and the outer. I think I'm going to go ahead and put in my dart and my center back seams. For both pieces, that's very straightforward and not a lot to it, so that they're prepped for when my appliques arrive, which have not yet happened. When I checked tracking, they were in Los Angeles, and that was yesterday. So I'm hoping they will be here, but I am leaving town. So I will be gone for 4 days. I'm trying to get what I can done before I'm missing my normal video production time in this travel. But I will be filming some things that will be coming soon, hopefully on this trip. I am very excited about the things that are coming up. So we'll see what I get done here and what I can get together for the next video. It may be a really short one because this may be close to it because of travel time and missing appliques. Then we will finish up hopefully the whole coat and be ready for the thing that I'm filming while I'm in California. All that exciting stuff. So I will go ahead and, I think I'm gonna go ahead and over the sewing machine and do some darts real quick and then, and center back seams. Pretty easy and straightforward. I love my new sewing chair. I cannot tell you how much this has helped my back while sewing. It has been well worth the money. I have an extra little pillow back here, but as a person who's had multiple back surgeries and just has chronic back issues, this has been wonderful. And I love how I can move my arms out of the way when I'm up here at the sewing machine if I find I don't need them. It's just really convenient. So I'm just going to sew in some darts. If you've never done a dart before, I will have a video linked below of the basics of darts. I think I have velvet fuzz in my nose. Anyway, I'm going to put darts in my lining and I'm going to go ahead and sew up the center back of my lining. This lining frays like crazy and I'm tempted to serge around it just because of the fraying. We will see. After that, I'm going to move on to my velvet. When working with synthetic velvet, it is slinky and slidey, and so I recommend lots of extra pins. You have to be careful if you use the clips, the little clips, because these will crush the nap. So depending on where you put them, if you put them far enough down, it could damage your nap, which is why I like a really fine pin when working with velvet. All right, we're just going to get some darts put in real quick. There is a lot of bias in these darts and it would be very easy to stretch these out. So be real careful not to pull and stretch in this dart area. I'm going to go ahead and do my center back while I'm working on these, and then I'll give everything a press. And it looks like, yep, the dart's going to press down. I am regretting some of my decisions, and one of them is this lining. I don't know if it shows up in this camera or not. It's an acetate. It feels like, I'm pretty sure I thought I was buying poly, but this feels very acetate. Do not love acetate. It's very costumey. It's not very durable. It frays like crazy. I don't hate the two blues, like they're very different, but I want a bright, fun lining in there. However, I think if I were doing this again today, I think I would instead do a more colorful and interesting lining than just a solid blue, and I would definitely spend a little more money and get a better quality. This just feels not great. I mean, it's fine. It's a lining, but I don't love it. But this, we'll see. If I absolutely hate it, it's easy to take a lining out and put in another one. I say that and I never do it. This is a very long center back seam, and because of it, I am going to make sure and pin. They have notches to help keep everything lined up so you don't end up getting stretching. If you have a walking foot or an even feed foot, engage it for this, and definitely engage it when you go to work on your velvet. I have my door shut. I'm keeping out the naughty cat that usually shows up in all the videos because she thinks that she's the star. But she just gets in the way too much, and I do not want her. When I'm at the machine, she tends to want to roll around right by the needle. Makes me nervous. So for everyone's safety, she's kicked out. For a little while, I could hear her crying at the door. We are now ready to do, these are 1/2 inch seam allowances. I have my even feed foot engaged. And a couple back stitches. hear a popping noise, it can just be this acetate, but often it means it's time for you to change a needle. See how much this sprays. Okay, so my lining now has both darts and the center back seam, and it's ready for me to press the center back seam open and press my darts towards the center back seam, my little neck darts. So this, flip this around. This is my center back and my two pretty darts. So all of this can go to the ironing board, and we're going to do the same thing for the velvet. Now, I don't have to worry about, I knew that was going to happen. I don't have to worry too much about pressing the acetate, just, make sure my iron isn't too hot. That's really it. But for velvet, I will have to use a velvet press cloth or a towel or something so I don't damage the nap. I'm going to do a quick little test of my fabric just to see. All right, I need to mark my darts. I do not have darts marked on my velvet. All right, so here is my beautiful velvet, and the lines are not showing up well on it. Let's see if I can, with my pencil, I'm going to try it with the chalk. Yeah, the chalk works a lot better. Okay, let's get this dart in. Okay, so there's our pretty dart. Just disappears in this fabric. Isn't that pretty? Can't even see it. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to get the other dart in, and we're going to sew up the center back just like I did on the lining. I'm going to go ahead and sew in my other dart, and then sew my long center back using my walking foot. So it's just like I did on the lining. And then I think I'm just going to press everything and stop. All right, I'm getting ready to press my synthetic. You can see how the darts fold towards the center back. So we're going to do a quick little pressing lesson. On synthetic, you don't want your heat too hot because synthetic will melt, so you can actually change the size and shape of your garment with your iron. So I have mine set pretty low, and I'm just going to first give it a quick press, and I am pressing up to that stitching line. but I'm not pressing over the edge of the cut edge of the fabric, and I'm just cutting in and pressing it. I'm hitting it with my iron. Now, if you notice when you press that your color changes, beware, because that sometimes is permanent. So we're just pressing on both sides. That embeds the stitching into the fabric a little bit, and it's going to give you a much flatter seam. And once we've done that, we're going to come in and open this up, and we're going to press this open now. You want to make sure that you've pressed right up to that stitching line, because if you didn't, you could get a bubble over and it's going to show on your right side. We do not want that. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm pulling a little bit on this side and pressing, making sure I don't have any little foldovers, and then I'm going to open this up and press again. Now, if you're using a satin or something with a satin, like this has got a satin woven in design, but it is a satin background. Satin can water spot, so you also want to be careful with your heat that you don't end up with water spots. Good to use a press cloth if you need to. Now I have tested this, do that, and it's doing fine, so I am going to give it a shot of steam. And I'm going to do the same thing for my dart. Pressing my dart, both sides. That just embeds it, and that also I want to make sure that this dart end is nice and flat. And then I can push it the side it's supposed to go. Darts normally flow towards the center back. Do the same thing on this side. Give it a little, rubbing it into the seam line. Make sure my end is nice and smooth. And give it a press. And this is very stretchy right through here, so I want to make sure I don't stretch it out. But I want to press this before I press these down, because you can see they're going to kind of all overlap right in here to each other. And then from the right side, that's how it looks. And you can see how smooth our darts look. No little puckers at the end. How nice and flat that seam looks. And it just makes everything look so much nicer. Now this fabric has lots of little wrinkles in it, so I'm going to go ahead and give that all a little press too while I'm here. Gently, just giving it a quick, and if I need to, I'm going to give it a shot of steam, but if you're working with satins, there's quite a few fabrics that can water spot. Test it. Take one of your scraps from cutting and test your iron on it first before you go to your final garment, so that you don't regret it and are sad that you ended up with a problem from it. All right. All right, we're back to do the same pressing, but this time on the velvet. I have laid down the other velvet that I'm not using to protect this one. So I've kind of lined my ironing board with a scrap of velvet. And I'm going to put nap to nap or velvet to velvet. I'm going to lay this down. We're going to doing the same method, but you need to protect your nap when you're working with velvet. So I'm going to, and this stuff's heavy, trying to keep it from sliding off my ironing board. All right. So this is how it currently looks, unpressed. And it always looks better. I'm telling you, sewing is important, but pressing is just important. If you never iron again, press while you're making your project. Okay, again, we don't need real hot. We can use some steam, give it a little steam. I'm not pressing hard at all when working with my velvet. I'm gently kind of just hovering, not really pushing my iron down hard at all. Pressing in my stitches on each side. And what I'm not doing is trying to get this edge pushed down inside. You can actually leave a demarcation on the outside of your cut edge, which I'm being careful about. So don't want that. So I'm going to be real careful about hitting those edges. And then once I've done that, then we can come back, open it up, and give it gentle steam. I'm sort of hovering, I'm not pressing hard. Always working on the wrong side. I'm going to do the same thing with my dart. Come back and press this way. We want to make sure that we have pretty dart ends, that we don't end up with a pucker at the bottom of our dart. And I'm going to press this whole thing. Any wrinkles it has, anything like that, I'm going to press it with the velvet below. Use the scrap left over after you've got everything cut out if you need to. If you absolutely don't have another piece of velvet to use for pressing cloth, use like a towel, something like that, that's a heavy napped towel that's plain weave. You don't want like a towel with a woven in stripe or polka dot, because it will leave that demarcation in your fabric. But there we go. And then there's no iron marks, no pressing marks on our velvet. And it looks pretty. So I'm just going to keep working my way down this center back seam, doing this exact same thing, and then pressing out any wrinkles. And it'll be ready for me. And this one, you can see it just falls open pretty easy, where the acetate stood up. This one falls easy. I am going to still come in and try and embed those stitches a little bit so it lays prettier from the outside. Because when you do that, it makes that seam much prettier. Can you see that? Now you can kind of see, I'm leaving fingerprints even with my hand. But it's very easy to leave demarcation on your velvet. A little video about intentionally demarking your velvet, where I pressed in, I think I made a pretty little stole. I'll link that below. I'll put a picture of it right here if you're interested in seeing what that looks like. But I did that. So if you would like to make something like that also, I'll have a link to it down below. That's where you intentionally mess up your fabric with a beautiful design. Here's applique number 1. Silver side. This one has more of the coppers and greens in it. I'm calling this the pheasant. It may be a peacock. I just have it gently pinned in. I really love the pinks and reds in this, and I wish I had a brocade that picked up the pinks and reds. I have looked to buy a different one and have not found it. If I find one before the finishing of this garment, I may end up buying it. But I have been looking, and in my price range, I have found them that I can't afford. But in my price range, I haven't found them. So this is number 1, applique. I'm going to call it the pheasant. Let's look at the second one. This one is definitely a peacock, number 2. Now this one has a lot of the colors in this, and more pinks, but it definitely has some of the coppers and greens that are in this. So I think these two definitely blend a little better than these two, but you tell me what you think. Number 2, the peacock. I also really like it, and I think they look really nice on this super dark blue velvet. All right, this is the last one. It's called the Phoenix. So here's number 3. And I can tell you I've already eliminated this one. I just don't feel like it displays as nicely across the back. I think this would be cool to go across a shoulder perhaps, or even maybe cut apart and do 2 front pieces with it, because it definitely has a right and left facing bird. But I wanted to go ahead and show you because I purchased both. So this is number 3, the Phoenix. I'm pretty sure I won't be using it, but it is pretty. I might use it on something else someday. Both kitty cats are in here today. After much debate and asking all the family members, I have decided on the more silver of the 2. It still has lots of copper in it. This is the one I'm going to cut after a quick eviction. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out my collar and cuffs, and the cuff, I'm going to cut them both on the bias. So you can see how I have this folded on the bias. Again, must evict cat supervisor to get anything done. Anyone else have to kick their boss out to get work done? Me too. So we're going to cut collar and cuffs, and I'm going to go ahead and work on this. It does say to use a piping, but I really don't think I'm going to. I don't think I want a piping on this. So I think I'm going to applique it plain. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and get these cut out. I'm going to fold under the edge that gets appliqued on and to applique it. So we're going to do that next. I think I'm close to stopping for today, so we're going to get these cut out, and then we will see how much farther I go in this video. I'm sorry you're getting me with natural hair, but we'll see how much farther we go after this. This may be the end of this week's video. We'll see how much footage I have. I don't want to make this too long of a video, so let's get cut and then and sewn together. We just sewed together the center back seam here. That's really it before pressing under that side of this outer edge. This edge will get caught in the lining. So this edge out here will get pressed under. And on this one, it's this edge that gets pressed under. So I'll show you that in a minute, or possibly next week. I'm sewing the center back on a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I have my even feed foot engaged. This is cut on the bias, so there is a lot of give in this seam, and I want to make sure it doesn't give very much. This is a good one to pin or clip to just prevent any movement. I thought about interfacing this one, but I have decided against it. I'm just going to leave it soft like it is since it's going on a soft fabric. I have just been really debating back and forth. I've decided to leave it soft. Now this is ready to get a gentle press open, and I am going to also press up this 1/2 inch seam allowance all along this bottom edge so that it will, and pin it onto my coat. I'm also going to do the same thing to the cuff. Before I sew it on, I'm going to pin up the outer edge. Not the edge, not the cut edge or the outer edge, but the inner edge is going to get tucked under and pressed down, ready to be pinned on. It's dark and my sewing room is looking shabby. It needs a little tidy. I've got projects stacked everywhere. All right, so for this brocade, I don't want to stretch it, and I don't want a very hot iron because it is a synthetic. So I'm just going to very carefully press it. It can have a little steam, but you want to test it on your scraps first to make sure that it doesn't water spot or anything like that. So I'm just going to press that seam. And once that seam is pressed open, you can see this is what the center back of the neckline is going to look like. And so this is the cut edge, or the edge where the lining is going to get attached. So this is the edge that I'm going to be sewing down or appliquing it. And this is the edge where you can do a piping. I'm still thinking about piping. I'm going to run tomorrow to Hobby Lobby and see if there's a piping in the interiors section that will work. And if there is, I'm going to buy it. But in the meantime, I could go ahead and press up my 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and just gently press up this 1/2 inch, and I'm going to do the same thing to the cuff for the cuff. All right, so this is how the edge looks pressed up. This is the cuff, so this is the wrong side, and this is the right side. Now I'm not worrying about this edge because I'm lining and doing other things, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I'm only worrying about the edge that I'm going to applique it on. So I've got it pressed and ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and do the other pieces the same way. And because it's biased, you can just see how it presses up and lays beautifully. Okay, friends, I am going to stop here. Next week, we will applique all of our pieces on and hopefully applique will go fast because I'm not going to make you sit and watch me just hand pick everything. So I will show the applique and then the putting together of the coat. I hope we can just kind of get it done next week. We will see. I'm trying not to make these videos super long. I'm trying to make them a little more consumable so it doesn't feel like you're eating the elephant all at once. We're making this a little more bite-sized. So next week we will get a lot more sewing done. We'll get a lot more applique done, and hopefully I will have decided on if I'm going to do any piping or not. It would be beautiful. I just haven't found anything that I like. So tomorrow we'll see if I can find anything or not, but that will be in next week's video. So I'll see you next week for another fun video. Also, how many t-shirts can Stacy wear in one video? I think every single shirt I wore, I made, and I will try and link the videos to all of them. Pretty sure this one is a laundry day. Fabric is from Mood. Bought it on clearance. It's a beautiful border print. I put the border at the top, and it had, look, it has these little panel pieces were on the sides. Anyway, that's a tangent. See you next week.